Panorama News here on Nile TV International, and I'm Nancy Sarah Barakat, bringing the latest news making headlines in Egypt and the world today. Let's take a look at some of those headline news. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail presents Egypt's vision on development before the China-Africa Forum. Egypt chosen by the UN Security Council to chair the body's anti-terrorism committee. And Iraq tells Turkey to immediately withdraw its forces from the country's north. Welcome back. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail has delivered Egypt's speech before the China-Africa Forum held in the South African capital, where he focused on the importance of cooperation between Beijing and African states based on mutual interests between Beijing and African states in the speech before the China-Africa Forum. Here's a closer look.
Prime Minister Sharif Ismail presented Egypt's vision on mutual interests between Beijing and African states in a speech before the China-Africa Forum. The Prime Minister's statement stressed the importance of Chinese contributions to the various development projects in Africa, and also tackled Egypt's efforts to create a better investment environment and more investment opportunities. After his word to the summit, Ismail told state television that Egypt needs huge investments and time to solve infrastructure problems, noting that the government's program that will be presented to the elected parliament will openly discuss such requirements. Talking about Ethiopia's Renaissance Dam, the Premier said that Cairo is seeking to preserve its historic rights in the Nile River water and ensure that the period of filling the dam's reservoir would not negatively affect such rights. Ismail also hailed the long relations between Egypt and China, noting that next year will coincide with the 60th anniversary of establishing diplomatic relations. He welcomed the upcoming visit of the Chinese President Xi Jinping to Egypt at the beginning of the next year. On the sidelines of the forum, Ismail met with the Sudanese Vice President Bakri Hassan Saleh. The meeting focused on Egyptian-Sudanese coordination on issues of mutual concern, as well as boosting political and economic ties. On Friday, Ismail attended the principal session of the China-Africa Forum that was held under the theme The Round Table. The presidents of the countries participating in the forum delivered speeches that focused on the importance of boosting inter-African relations and also means of enhancing cooperation with China in all domains.
The Hispan Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sameh Shoukry, said that the Johannesburg Summit communique will refer to a number of national projects that are open for investment. Those projects include several ventures at the Suez Canal axis. On the sidelines of the China-Africa Forum, Shoukry said that cooperation between Africa and Beijing is fruitful and based on mutual interest, as well as the principle of non-interference in the internal affairs of other states. Egypt has been unanimously chosen by the 50 member states of the UN Security Council to chair the Anti-Terrorism Committee when it assumes its seat at the Council next month. The committee that was established after the September 11th attacks is one of the most important at the UN set up to counter terrorism. Egypt's permanent envoy to the UN, Amna Abu Atta, will chair the anti-terrorism panel. The Higher Election Commission announced that turnout in the recently concluded parliamentary elections stood at 28.3%, while turnout in the second stage reached 22%. During a press conference, head of the electoral body, Councillor Ayman Abbas, announced the victory of 555 candidates, including 316 independents and 39 party list members. Councillor Abbas added that some 17,000 voters abroad cast their ballots in the runoff vote of the second round of the polls. Meanwhile, Egyptians abroad vote today and tomorrow in 4 constituencies whose results were annulled due to some violations. The runoff vote for the 4 constituencies will be held on the 14th and 15th of December for Egyptians abroad and the 15th and 16th for voters inside Egypt. The Ministry of Interior said that 2 suspects who had set fire on Friday to a nightclub in the district of Al Agouza in the governorate of Giza have been arrested. In a statement, the ministry said that the final toll of victims stood at 16 fatalities and 3 injuries. The ministry revealed that the assailants fled to Suez after throwing 2 petrol bombs at the nightclub in retaliation for being prevented from entry the day before by the club's bodyguards. The Cairo Criminal Court has adjourned to December the 16th the trial of ousted President Mohamed Morsi and 10 members of the Terrorist Brotherhood organization on charges of espionage. The trial was postponed to allow the defense team to look into the documents and evidence presented by the prosecution. The defendants are accused of leaking to the Gulf Kingdom of Qatar classified documents issued by state security bodies to the presidency in the year 2012. The same court has resumed the trial of steel tycoon Ahmed Izz on charges of illegally obtaining a steel license.